want to cut that clown countdown real short because we just want to get this one over with. I'm sure Nick does not. I'm Martino. This is Nick Diani of I'm always gonna mess up the name. Kicks Pick Pod.
Kicks and Picks. Yep.
Kicks and Picks Pod. A show I've been on a bunch of time. It's great. If you definitely love betting. Went 1 for 2 today. During this match, over 2.5, like we both said. We did not expect that to happen. But anyways, Nick, congratulations. This was the best performance Lazio has had, definitely under Sarri. They had some good performance earlier this year. It's been kind of back and forth, like I was talking about with Sean McIntosh. Like, you guys play like you do against Lecce, and then you miss Immobile today and you score 4 goals. Go figure, right? I mean, talk about the performance for you guys, because it was pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. For my money, it was the best performance under Sarri. That first half was probably the best half we ever saw under Sarri. And that's what makes it all the more frustrating. I think you're exactly right, right? We go out, we beat Inter, we beat Roma, we beat you guys, and then we can't get it done against Lecce, against Sampdoria, against Udinese earlier in the year. So a little bit frustrating, but, you know, you got to give it to Sarri for this one. I think SMS came back in a big way, probably his best game since the World Cup. Luis Alberto looks like a man reborn. He was absolutely everywhere. And for that, Cataldi also had a very solid game. You didn't necessarily notice him, but he didn't make any mistakes. He was tenacious in winning the ball back. And I just think Milan kind of got it all wrong. It was the perfect storm.
Everything wrong. I mean, just in the sense of they kept trotting out the same lineup that has not been performing well in Serie A, Coppa Italia, whatever competition you want. It's just been embarrassing, and that's on Stefano Pioli, and this has kind of been his MO as a manager for a little while. He's definitely overachieved. I thought he's done great things with Milan. Getting him back into the Champions League was a big deal. And then again, winning the title last year. He won a title. That says a lot. But right now, it kind of feels like dead man walking for him. This type of performance is unacceptable. Very, very fortunate they're still in the top 4 as of right now. They're getting past this difficult stretch. There's a couple more tough ones coming up. Benacer suspended for Sassuolo. But again, I think there isn't much to say on Milan's front. It's basically like, if it's not Rafael Leao, it's nothing. And again, you saw more liveliness from some of the substitutes, but we all know at this point when it's 2-0, and Lazio has a strong defensive structure, when they're on defensively. And again, Tatarusanu, I don't understand how anyone blames the defense on that one. I don't care if Kalulu got that one. It's not his fault. He's trying to clear the ball out because of the danger that presented. So it's unfortunate what happened, but the hesitancy of a goalkeeper is the worst thing that they could have in terms of a bad trait. And he has it. And that was awful. Whether he thought he was too slow or whatever, Felipe Anderson took the ball, and that was game. Whatever opportunity Milan had where they look a little decent outside the second half. I mean, my goodness. I mean, this was embarrassing. I think this was the worst defeat we had to you since you guys almost won the Scudetto that year, where you destroyed us at San Siro, I believe it was.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And you were saying that with the guys the other day. I think every game has been pretty well contested, close, right? Maybe a 2-1 here or there, or 1-0. And for me, I think I guess I didn't realize it. I didn't give the guy enough credit coming into this year. Teo Hernandez, man, you were missing him big time this game. I think
missing him all year. Really.
I thought Dest was having a decent first half until that second goal, and from there he never recovered. You know, he's put into a bad situation. The guy's clearly not up to par as much as I think maybe you and I want him to, be as Americans. But he had an awful game after that. Calabria was getting absolutely cooked all game by Zaccagni. So, as much as you want to blame the goalkeeper, the wings really left everybody else vulnerable.
Horrendous.
And that's Lazio's strength. I mean, that's the one thing they had going for them without Immobile is, they're going to try to force play through the wings, and Milan did nothing to stop it. So
it's just inexcusable fullback. But like Zaccagni, good player. It's not like we're talking about the most physically dominant type of winger out here. I mean, Anderson is a better winger in terms of creating and getting past players. Zaccagni, I think, has more quality on the ball than not. But it's just a frustrating thing to look at. Season's not over. This was literally the halfway point right now. This was, I mean, obviously it's bigger for Lazio to win a game like this at home without their best player. I say probably most important at this point, Milinkovic is the best. But yeah, I mean, it's a big boost because with this Juve point deduction, we haven't gotten a chance to talk about it. I think this is really opens up the opportunity for both Roma clubs. Inter still slipping up. Skriniar, does he stay? Does he go? Milan probably maybe with an investment at this point. I think this accelerates a decision on Zaniolo for both clubs. One, Roma's angry that you guys won. Secondly, we looked horrible. Yeah, but there has to be changes at this point. It's the Albert Einstein quote of, hey, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Sarri, perfect example. What you guys did. Alberto, not really up to par with what he wants, and that's it. And that system sits for a while. Basically, looks like he's off to La Liga. Comes back in, plays a great game today. Like he always does against Milan. What else is new? But yeah, I mean, it's just well deserved. There really isn't. I wish there was more to talk about because it was a beatdown. It wasn't close. There wasn't a good or bright spot, in my opinion, to talk about with Milan. And Lazio, it's just all things were going great. Now, my question to you is, how do you guys think you build off of this? Is this something that you're of a high and then there's a letdown coming next match day? Or is this something to finally build off of?
So that's a great question. And it's one thing we haven't seen them build upon big wins, except for one very small stretch earlier in the year. And they took on 3 or 4 relegation clubs. I think they had 3 4-0 wins in a row. And, nothing to write home about, right? What you expect a team like Lazio to do against that really lower level competition. If you had asked me before this game, and I'll be honest, I was of the opinion this was going to be a grinded out 2-1, 2-2, 3-1. Never could have predicted this, right? Everything went as perfectly as it could. Coming into this game, I was saying Lazio, their ceiling is top 6, right? They're maybe 5th, maybe 6th. Atalanta's playing well. I think they're playing better than we all expected. I think Roma has a better squad and a little bit more runway than Lazio because I think guys like Tammy and Pellegrini aren't really performing up to their potential. So coming into this game, you figured if we got 0 points or maybe we got a draw and got 1 point, okay, we're still in that conversation for 5th and 6th.
Yeah.
Well, now I think that mentality has to change a little bit, right? You have to build off this game. You have no choice. And I think
very true.
This is perfect going into
a tough schedule.
Tough schedule and a Coppa Italia in another week and a half against Juventus. You have to believe you can win that game. And
absolutely.
It's the
very similar
time
to what today is, the timing in which you're facing this club. Yeah.
Exactly right. So Fiorentina's next. It's a must-win game. There's no two ways about it. Fiorentina hasn't done anything this year. They've beaten nobody above them in the table, and they don't score goals. And quite honestly, we have a pretty good record against them. So,
yeah, Fiorentina is just a very weird grind out kind of 3 points thing. It's just been a weird job replacing Vlahovic. It kind of looks like at this point they were just better off with each other. But yeah, I don't know. It's difficult. I think one of these Roma clubs at this point is going to make top 4, especially if this Juve thing is upheld. I think Milan can turn it around. I think at this point, like it's not an exaggeration with the goalkeeper situation. It's night and day. It's a night and day difference. I think there's an argument to be said that the first 2 goals could be saved. Penalty's a penalty. 4th one was just lackluster. I think there's more defensive organization, but for me, there's so many different things where it comes to fundamentals. And on that first goal, you're leaving the best player on the field wide open. Yeah. There's no excuse for it. There isn't anything like our defensive system. It's like, no, someone stay on him. You don't need this Pep Guardiola tactical masterclass to know that you have to be on top of a player that dangerous inside the box. Like, it's like not defending LeBron James.
No, 100%. That ball went by 6 guys. I mean, there's no defense of it.
Regardless of dummies, right?
Right.
And here's Mario, by the way. Congratulations to Mario. This son of a bitch won the PS5 giveaway from Odds Checker for work. Of all people, if you don't know Mario Gagliano, I think you might, Nick. He's the most sarcastic Inter fan I think I've come across. Maybe you do know him if I send you the account. But again, Over 2.5, kind of cool, I guess.
Now, listen, we didn't expect to hit it that way, but it was one of my plays of the week. You and I have been talking about it for a couple days now that it was a
Dude,
no
like
doubter, and
it's how is it not like you know what I mean, like, and it was really weird odds wise. It was, you said you got it at even or
I
no?
got it at even money. Yeah, I took it
Okay.
probably Tuesday or Wednesday of last week. So
Okay, so you went far. I can't, because like I see the Super Copa match. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I have to wait just in case. And minus 108 is still what I got it at. So I take that. It's fine.
definitely,
I am best Twitter, Mario says. But yeah, just go ahead and plug Kick and Picks because it's a lot of fun. You guys cover most of the leagues. Any futures now? Actually, you know what? This makes me want to look at it. It might not be up immediately, and FanDuel is pissing me off. We've had this conversation. They're still not letting me cash out Napoli. They're not letting me. There's no odds for it. It's getting super frustrating. Like, we know they're finishing top four. Just give me it. If I want $58 instead of 60, I deserve that.
I agree.
You save $2 at least.
I agree.
But yeah, if I could pull this up and see what we have. Out of the teams that we discussed at this point, is there anybody that you kind of like moving on? There isn't. It's just Scudetto odds right now, and Napoli's minus 700. There isn't a point in looking at it.
No, I think that the top three teams have to be solidified. This result and the Inter's result from this week, notwithstanding, right? I think the two Milan teams
Really?
are still
Okay.
better
Okay.
than Roma, than Lazio, than Atalanta. But those three teams, I mean, you can make a compelling case for any of the three. Atalanta has been the team that's really exceeded my expectations out of all of them. I think
Yeah.
we know Lookman's playing exceptionally well, but every year they get two or three guys you've never heard of that all of a sudden by midway in the season they're pretty much household names in the culture community. So credit to them on that. Will they fall back a little bit? I don't know. Not knowing the odds again, I believe in
It's
Roma a little bit
frustrating.
more.
Yeah.
That's probably where my money would go to make top four. Sucks for me because I put in a future for Juve maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. And now, of course, with the points deduction, there's no shot at them doing anything.
Did my
So I'm wondering how that'll be handled. Maybe I'll get a refund on the bet.
Yeah, imagine. I think only public books do it at this point. If you take an offshore, they ain't giving you shit back. We all know that. Yeah. So actually, you know what? It's a good question because I don't think now I get to ask you the questions. What do you think of that? There's certain things that I do prefer. I do respect voided bets if a player is not starting, but if someone gets injured during the game, you don't deserve your bet back.
No way.
You don't deserve that. That risk. Risk that's been there since the beginning of time. If a player gets scratched despite you thought he was going to start, I do think it deserves to be void. That's fair. Because the match didn't even start.
Yep.
But if we're sitting here talking about, you know what you're getting yourself into, right? Because then give everything back.
Exactly right. No, I completely agree. I think some books and good books will give you the option to check player must start for action. Depends on the type of bet, but you're absolutely right. If somebody gets injured, that's part of the game. You can't control it. You didn't anticipate it, but that's just. But
that's the whole point. That's the whole point.
Yeah. And this is a new phenomenon that you see on social media and you see with legalized sportsbook now, and the fact that it's much more popular than it used to be. 5 years ago, nobody ever would have asked for their money back on a bad beat like that.
But it's how they keep these customers staying, because it's like, why would I go to another book if they don't want to return a bet that I just lost? This bet, this sports book is willing to give me my money back. Caesar only has Coppa Italia futures. Caesar's is horrendous.
The worst.
They basically stole money from me. When the books first started last NFL playoffs, I had like over $200 in winnings, and I tried cashing it out and it just disappeared. And you try and get on with support and they won't let it get to you. It's just stupid. It's very obnoxious because they have your bonus money, which I understand you can't cash out on, but they also won't let you reinvest in it. And I don't have the time to just sit there for like an hour waiting for support to help me out. Very frustrating. But anyways, listen, the offshore has minus 400 for Napoli. I would want to say that's only like that because of the possible points deduction. And what I was going to bring up to you, if we were to have won this match, was outside chance was Napoli get a points deduction, Milan still would have to go into Napoli. They would have an opportunity to win that match. Say Napoli slip up and they're not still on this historic pace. I mean, like on the outside, like before a ruling were to happen, is it that insane to say
No.
Napoli gets -8 points? They get docked. Milan go in there and they end up winning, and obviously this is not going to happen now. Maybe the points deduction will, but the sheer possibility of that, because there's half a season left. Theoretically, it's not the dumbest thing you've ever heard of.
Listen, you can lose a 12-point lead the same way you built it up, right? Half a season is a long time. You still have to play every single team once more.
Yeah.
A lot can happen. I think these next couple of weeks are really going to tell the tale for Napoli. If they go and handle Roma this week, I think that's a huge step for them, quite honestly.
Yeah. Just a really, really bad day for Milan. Yeah, I don't know what else basically to say at this point. There's not too much to cover bets-wise because everything's not going to get released in time for us to discuss that. But overall, I think this is Napoli's league to lose. Top four is the most exciting thing. I think that would definitely be something to look at bets-wise. I honestly could see any of the three. My only issue is rotation within the Roma clubs and how do the managers handle that? And also, as much as I love Dybala as a player, are we banking on him for
Healthy.
19 straight matches? Right. I feel like that's a fair question to ask. I think Tammy turns it around. I think you guys are in a little bit of a favor. Immobile has to stay healthy now because I think long-term it could look iffy with him.
Yeah.
Because, again, healthy for a while, but past 2 seasons now, kind of catching up.
Yeah, you're talking about a guy he's 32 now, right? He's not young. He's been with Lazio for 6 years. This is now his second extended period on the injured list.
And we thought he would be good coming back in to the reboot.
Right. So definitely not ideal. So I agree with you. And there's been zero investment from any of these squads, right? This is I think in terms of the January mercato, this is the least that's ever been spent in Serie A, at least that I can remember.
Yeah, it's just minimal deals that are. I mean, we see the graphic from IFTV and in the comparison everybody's making with the Premier League, La Liga, and everyone else. I mean, it's night and day. Lazio, we know you're not going to invest. The only time you invest really is like unless you had a massive sale within that window, and then you reinvest immediately, or you wait till summer and you see what Lotito is able to do. But again, no stadium, no money, no improvement. That's usually how it goes.
We got a shirt sponsor this year, all right? We're coming up.
There you go. Napoli have 10 though, so try to catch up. But yeah, I mean, listen, well deserved by Lazio. We're going to play each other again this season. This was to end and wrap up the first half of the year. We play this weekend again, multiple competitions for you guys. We'll see how Sadi and them handle it. I don't know. It's tough. I think I would probably lean Atalanta at this point. Just I think they have that experience there. And Lookman is, if Kvara and Kim and Jay did not exist, Lookman's the signing of the season.
No question.
And he does. And they ripped off a team that rips off other people. By the way, nobody rips off Leipzig. Leipzig rips off other people, and they somehow pulled it off. So kudos to them. Go ahead and plug everything with Kicks and Picks. I already have your Twitter going here underneath.
Oh, appreciate it. Yeah, at Kicks Picks Pod on Twitter. Listen, we're trying to follow the lead. There's a ton of great culture content out there. I don't know that the world needed another one, so our show is focused pretty much solely on betting. So we will break down the key matchups week to week, Serie A, Premier League, international if that's going on. And then we've been giving out 3 picks every week. There's 3 of us. So 9 to 10 picks a week. On fire this year. I think we're hitting at about 63%. So
you guys were just discussing last week, right? Like, what was it? It was like what was your record? The 3 of you combined this past weekend?
It's like 150 or something like that. I'd have to look at it, but we're hitting at like 63%. So really good.
And just for amateur type of bettors, okay. And I've had this discussion, and we've had this on off air with everybody. If you say you hit 60% or higher, you're full of shit. Over a long period of time.
Definitely.
I'm not saying like a hot 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm saying like we start from August, like football season, to May. You're full of shit, most likely, unless like on a consistent basis, if you're telling people I'm hitting 60% or even anything, honestly, like above 56, I think is, I know, like it's, I've worked with tons of talented people that are far better than me in this stuff, and they're like, I'm hitting 53, man, and I'm super happy. And that's okay. You got to understand people lose a lot, but
Oh, there's
100,
no doubt.
150 is incredible. Happy for
Yeah,
you guys.
no,
Not
listen,
surprised.
I think you're spot on. We're having a great season. There's no doubt about it. We try to
Yeah,
make it,
Sharma.
we try to make it fun, entertaining, and we only give out 10 picks a week, right? There's people that are out there that are giving out 10 picks a day, right? It's impossible to win long term, I feel, doing that, right? It's too much action, too much variance. We're prepping for an entire week for the show for that weekend. We put a lot
And
into it.
three,
We're having
three,
some
three
fun.
is simple too. It's nothing fucking insane
Yeah.
where you're like,
And
oh,
fortunately for us, the proof is out there, right? You can go back and listen to every single episode. We can show you the spreadsheet where we track our bet. I mean, you can't fake what you've said. It's out
no.
there.
And I know people who do fake on a larger scale, and
Right.
it's fucking insane. And I can't believe it half the time. And I know I've transitioned to gambling, but guys, there's really nothing to talk about with this match. Sharma, to answer your question, yes, one of the worst title defenses I've seen. I think it's multiple things, because it's really funny that Milan are on a very similar pace to last year, but Napoli is just on a better pace than the Saudi 91 point
Yeah.
squad. So I mean that says a lot.
Let
Mario
me ask you a
said,
question,
go for
Martino.
it. Go for it.
How do you feel about 12 points? I feel like they couldn't have played any better than they have to this point. 12 points doesn't seem like a lot.
12 points doesn't seem like a lot, because again, it's really just looking at Milan in the recent matches, but Milan really only lost 2 games before today. Like, it was Napoli, understandable. Torino, whatever, annoying. Today, embarrassing, but a really tough environment on the road. It's just the vibes and the manner in which we were dropping these points. Like Lecce, you can't be doing that. Roma, you're up 2-0. See the game
Yeah,
out.
that was
I
brutal.
don't think today happens like today did if they don't blow that. I think it's just a domino effect.
Yeah.
12 doesn't feel like a lot, but in reality, we all know at this point, Napoli has been fortunate with injuries. Good for them. I think they deserve all of this. Who was worst at defending the title, Milan or the Rams? The Rams, easily. That's not even a discussion. Yeah. I mean, the Rams have a losing record. Milan are probably going back in the Champions League at this rate. Like, the Rams had the biggest debacle. I also don't think our best player is about to retire or threatening to retire, or our manager. But yeah, just again, any other futures you looking at, and any other league? I think the most intriguing one out of any competition, by the way, is the Champions League. Very, very, very intriguing. There's so much value. It's just everyone values City. It's Bayern second, and then everyone else. And it's like, I mean, after what we saw last year, why are we not saying, and the way kind of City's playing in the Prem, why isn't this more open?
I think it should be. I think PSG is not getting the shout they deserve because they're sleepwalking through the league as they typically do. But
Yes.
they looked pretty damn good in Champions League up until this point.
Yeah.
I think, there's teams that haven't said their final piece yet. I mean, I don't know the bracket off the top of my head, but it's not going to be the cakewalk that everybody thinks it is for City. They haven't looked great.
Yeah. And it's really PSG versus Bayern's the heavyweight matchup to start. Again, it's offshore stuff has plus 150 for City, and then you look down and the next closest one is 650 for Bayern, and you're like, I'm sorry, it's just not 500 of a difference between these teams right now. I don't love Bayern. I don't love any of these teams. I think this is probably the weakest. Maybe it's just Holland carries them.
Could be.
But nah, I don't know. it's just
I mean, my thoughts on that, it's if you're going to place a future bet, you better be getting 500 or better, right? You're not going to lock that up in City for 150. You can get that.
Bro,
on
what's the point? And to me, it's I don't. Is City anywhere at this point? Premier League, nothing. There's not value like that.
No.
It's just, this is just the way it goes over here in the States. Nick, thanks so much, man. Enjoy your beautiful weather down there.
Appreciate it.
We're dodging the snow. We got about a month left. Please,
had a good run.
Good. Yeah, I know. And again, quick thoughts real quick. This has nothing to do with soccer. My birthday's in March 11th. They moved the MAC on a Saturday. The MAC championship. We were talking about this last night. One of the dumbest decisions you've seen from a conference? Yes or no? Right? I mean,
definitely. I think you and I would be happy if Iona made the final at this point because they can't seem to stop anybody on defense. I'm confident they could trot you
Back
out
to
at
the old
point
days,
guard.
baby.
They could trot you out at point guard against them, and you'd go for about 15. So it's not looking good. Ricky P better figure it out. But
He's
yeah,
gone. He's gone. He's gone to Louisville. They need him back now.
let
I'm
me
kidding.
tell you, they haven't done anything to since his hire. I feel like they haven't done anything to build up the conference when they had that opportunity. Now they're going in the opposite direction.
You know what it was? It was such a kick in the nuts when it was St. Peter's going as far as they did, because no MAC team was winning a game since Siena back in prior to 2010, I believe.
Yeah,
I think they faced Steph Curry in that tournament.
it was like
or something.
405, something like that.
Yeah, pathetic. But anyways, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Hope our Gales turn it around. Best of luck to
Absolutely.
Lazio the rest of the season. Follow
Thank you.
Kicks and Picks on Twitter. Follow Nick on Twitter. Follow Sam and Scott. All great guys.
Appreciate it, brother. We'll have you back on soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care, guys. Bye.
Thank you.